Hey, so I was pretty curious earlier. I had meant to post something on YouTube about the way that my new job representing Cutco cutlery has influenced my consciousness. And the first way is that it's influenced me to do this, which is talking with myself about the way that it's influenced me because it very clearly has. And I'm selling myself on its positive influence so that I can be better able to sell people on my product. Now, the first way to sell people on my product is to realize that it's not for everyone. The people that Cutco is not for are the people who don't really care about cooking and who don't really care about the way that things go into their body. If you do care about the presentation or the preparation or anything that goes into the production of the meal that you have before you, then you should listen up about Cutco. Because these knives are just amazing. They've had 62 years of collective consciousness poured into what product we have today. And the product we have today has 5 unique elements to it that make it really the world's best knife. And not only the world's best knife, but your favorite knife too. Because if you like knives, if you like cutting, if you like being able to if you like creativity and cutting, you like Cutco. Yeah, man. So our handle, we had a doctor named Dr. Thomas Lamb study 700 pairs of hands, right? Looking at 2 pairs of hands is kind of what would you even study for? There has to be something there to make you want to continue studying so many hands. And what was there was his desire to craft a handle so nice that it would fit all 700 of them, no matter whether it was a right hand, a left hand, a big hand, or a small hand. He wanted it to fit them all. So the way that he did it is with what's called the universal wedge lock. Now, the universal wedge lock works very well in conjunction with the steel that we use. Now, the fact that our steel is a full tang from the tip here, thank you, from the tip here to the tang here means that in this handle, which is a wedge lock handle because of the way that your thumb and forefinger lock around the wedge, it's balanced right here. And this means that it's very easy to glide through things. And the edge that we use is so special that I need to save it for later. Other awesome things. So you'll notice right here, we don't have those brass rivets that are conducive to those molderings that we saw on the other page, and also to destroying themselves because they're brass and they expand and contract in heat, which just makes it really easy for them to fall out. We use a nickel silver alloy, which is a jeweler's metal because jewelry obviously has an extremely high standard of quality. And so what a high standard of quality means for rivets made of nickel and silver is that they're non-porous, they're flush, they don't expand and contract because of the density of the alloy. And it means that you have a non-porous surface here that is flush with the handle. There's no space for any germs to get in. It's smooth when you grip it, that wedge lock. It feels nice. And when you're actually cutting, the control and the stability that you have from a knife so well balanced makes it so simple to make you feel like an artist. Even if you aren't one, but do have any sense of creativity. Now, that part that I couldn't quite get to yet, it's time to get to. So this is where I would show them the rope. Now we use rope, Mrs. Jones, because it's fibrous, like vegetables, especially denser ones like eggplants and squash, and it also simulates cooked meats, but it won't dull your knives in any way whatsoever. So I've got my Poly Prep cookboard, which is soft enough to do the same thing, prevent that dulling of the knives. So what I want you to do, just take your straight edge here, and just try cutting through it, just to see what kind of effect it has. Okay, Alright, so it's not too effective at cutting through it, but these are strong fibers. We wouldn't expect a straight edge to get through it so easily, just because of how much contact a straight edge has with a cutting board, which is the primary dulling agent. And but what you can see is they have a very clean cut, right? Almost looks like a doctor. It's what I would call a laceration, right? So now, thank you. Let's try out the serrated knife. Alright, again, start with the back of the blade and just pull through it on that first try so you can get that first comparison, and then do a back and forth motion. Alright, nice. So you definitely got through it, right? Serrated edge has a great grip on it. But do you also see the Larry the Cable Guy? Right? The frayed ends of it. It rips and tears. And so, what I want to show you, which is fantastic to me, and kind of mind-blowing, here's Cutco. Now, let's just do the exact same thing, just using our double D edge. Alright? So you cut the rope. Yep, start with it. Whoa, right? It is amazing. You can admit it. And what's even more amazing is that you can see the evidence for it. So, remember Larry the Cable Guy over here? It's still frayed and looks terrible. You know, if you're presenting food to your company, it's just not what you want around. But this, that is a really straight edge. And why it does that is because our double D edge is actually crafted with what I consider the most thoughtful and meticulous craftsmanship that I've seen in any knife. And what you have are the three recessed edges here. This is the zoom up in my blue book. And what this does is it means that you have an edge going forward, an edge cutting backwards, and that straight edge always coming down. Now the points are dull, and what they serve to do is to protect these three cutting recessed edges from the cutting board, whatever surface you're operating on. And therefore, if used correctly, this edge stays sharp for 7 to 10 years. But Mrs. Jones, what's really amazing, and why I love this company and trust it with my personal development, is that we don't only say our knives stay sharp for 7 to 10 years, but we actually guarantee them for longer than the steel can stand. This is our forever guarantee. And it means that this company has decided to put such an investment into its own product that it's going to give you the best incentive to make an investment yourself. Forever Guarantee has 4 points. The first one is forever performance. If at any time you are dissatisfied with the way that your Cutco is performing, you can send it back and we will fix it and replace it for free. That's really amazing. To say that, okay, we've already poured all of this attention into having these blades that should stay sharp for 7 to 10 years. And this is the part that I haven't seen firsthand. I haven't owned Cutco for 7 to 10 years. But even if I'd only owned it for 2 days, even if I didn't own it, but knew about it and heard they offer a guarantee that lasts longer than I do, and I understand there's a suspicion there because it says, well, hey, what if this company isn't around for as long as their guarantee entrusts? Then it's not a forever guarantee, it's an as long as the company still exists guarantee. But there are so many signs that say this company is going to be around for a long time. The fact that we're up 60% during a recession because people are cooking at home to save money. The fact that we've been around for 62 years. The fact that my mom's knives say 1990 on them from when my oldest half-brother Jason was selling these. And Just the fact that I really can't think of anything more trustworthy and promising than to hear a company say, we stand behind our product so fully that even after putting all of our attention into making it as good as it can be, we're going to put that same attention into making a guarantee, and it's better. That's wild. Forever sharpness means that if your knives ever go dull, you can send them back and you just pay a nominal shipping fee to be able to have 4 or more knives sharpened and polished like new for the price of $9. Misuse and abuse. If you guys ever were to disrespect your Cutco, I really don't picture this happening. But if it's a dire emergency and there's no screwdriver ever, and you go for the petite carver and jam it in the door, and it breaks in half, well, then you pay half cost for a new one, and we treat the misuse. And then the last one is our 15-day risk-free trial, which is really cool. Because I'm wondering, do you feel you can make a better decision on the spot or by actually trying things out? Yeah, trying things out, right? Me too. Anytime that you go to a store, you want to try out the jeans before you buy them, don't you? Of course, because you want to know how it's going to be. And so any good store will say, hey, if you don't like it, you can come back, because it should know that you would perceive it as trustworthy enough that even if you wanted to return your item, you would want to stay with the company. So fine, you return your $50 pair of jeans, but when you come back to return them, the company manages to keep your $50 in their revenue by saying, hey, our shirts are also great quality. Why don't you try it on first and see if you want to keep it? Well, that's why we have this risk-free trial period. So you can try the stuff out. You can use it in your home, and you have 15 days to say, wow, that's what Cutco's like. Or to say, oh, this was a silly expense. And done with Cutco. And what's amazing is that Cutco will cut up its memory of itself just as well as it cuts tomatoes, if you so chose not to focus on its cutting ability on tomatoes and rather our own enabling privilege of you to say, I want to sever my entire relationship with Cutco because its products are not what I wanted. So therefore, thanks for my money back and a complete refund, and we'll just go our separate ways because we're not for each other, and that's cool. I should probably get to work, but this has been pretty nice.